Didn't we do an episode a while back talking about the greatest swap meet ever is coming pretty soon?
Yeah, yeah, secondhand market.
You just wonder if this is the we're starting to see, signs of all the stuff people overconsumed in the last 18 months. Are you going to see it come up for sale here pretty quick? Um,
Yeah.
go buy stock in like eBay and any any company that owns like digital media that sells things because they're about to get some ad revenue.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. Yeah. Not
I
that that's
just
stock advice though.
no,
Yeah.
no advice ever. We're not giving financial advice.
Yeah.
Um, but I saw the algorithm serving me up on YouTube that Diesel Brothers were selling a bunch of their stuff, and then I've seen a couple people post lately about selling their stuff. And I saw a comment on the Diesel Brothers that a couple other guys are talking about selling their stuff, and I know a lot of times the YouTube channel would do that because you click on it, but it also makes you wonder. You're starting to see more and more of that talk in general, and a lot of these people you have to assume don't like own all this stuff outright. It's I'm assuming they got leases or they're carrying banknotes on it. So my thought is maybe they want to buy some new stuff, but the bank's like, you're gonna have to sell some shit, and uh, and then we might give you some more credit because if they see significant headwinds coming, they're not gonna let people keep extending that credit.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also probably like if you their balance sheets are probably no more impressive than they were at the height of, you know, at the height of the stimulus, for example. So why would they
Probably,
extend them more credit?
yeah. I mean, unless they're showing like a big revenue increase, but
Right.
what I we've been well, I guess we've both been keeping an eye on this. It's everyone's trying to figure out. Well, we did another episode about all the supercars.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many supercars in Michigan. Everywhere I can't go out every day. I see a McLaren, Lamborghini, McLaren. Get on a Birmingham, you see a Ferrari. You know, everyone and their mother's got a Porsche. There's no Porsches at the Porsche dealer. I think there's like one used Panamera out there now. Like they're wiped out. They got like Ford Explorers and shit out there. It's all gone, Kane. It's I had a buddy who said his friend was looking for some kind of supercar and he can't find nothing. You used to be able to go around here and find a couple things on the lot. Man, they're all gone, dude. Um, other
Yeah,
than other
crazy.
than that Aston Martin, that Aston Martin you wanted, which they have like 20 of those of.
Of course.
But
They're just waiting for me. They're just waiting
yeah,
for me.
yeah, give it a couple more months. But what I'm looking at is like, everyone's trying. There's these crafty wordings of articles and content where people are rethinking their jobs and their passions, and that's why they're not working. And it's like, but how are they living? How how are you buying food and paying for your rent and your car payment, your cell phone bill, your Netflix? How do you get to this opt out of the workforce? The shit's not that easy, Kane. Um,
Yeah.
unless have you found a way?
No, no, no. No.
Yeah, it's like, oh, how do you just opt out of the workforce unless you got a bunch of money in the bank or you're getting money from somewhere? So what you see in this chart is savings, right?
Yep.
We got that federal unemployment, stimulus payments. There's a lot of things that we stopped spending money. We stopped traveling. We weren't eating out. We saved a lot of money. And then people got an influx of money that they normally wouldn't get. Plus, a lot of people weren't paying their rent because they didn't have to. They didn't pay their mortgage. They didn't have to. Who the hell even paid their school loans in the last 18 months? You didn't have to.
Right. Right.
So I think a lot of that money just went into savings accounts or it went into consumption. But now that you have to pay your rent now, and now that the fat unemployment stopped, this thing is going right back to where it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, like, have we seen the heyday of the car channels on YouTube? And was this like peak cars period? I mean, this is you combine a supply chain shortage with overconsumption. This was probably peak cool car. Um, I just, you look for little signs, and it's like, why is everybody selling everything? And I'm not even just talking about the YouTube videos saying, hey, I'm selling everything. Click on this video. When you don't know this reference, but one day the algorithm serves me JJ the boss is selling all of his cars, and he's literally walking around his, compound. There was an old movie like Kurt Russell called Used Cars, and he's like going around the car lot, like his cars, running around like, I'm gonna sell this, I'm gonna sell this, I'm gonna sell this. It's like, why is JJ selling all of his cars? Well, he wants to build a barn or some shit. But there's a lot of talk of people selling shit. I don't know about on your side. I'm starting to see more. Kane, go for a drive one day.
Yeah.
And just start paying attention to the amount of for sale signs on the side of the road for like motorcycles, for cars, for RVs, for boats. The state of Michigan's been sold out of jet skis for 2 years now. Like,
wow.
But you're starting to see shit for sale. And it's like, well, are we right at the tipping point where savings are going to run out and people are going to have to go back to work or give up their toys? I don't know.
It's interesting because you're right. What does that cocktail look like if you think of all the for hire signs and then you take into consideration all the for sale signs? Like, what breaks first? Do people go back to work, or do people feel like, oh, I do not want to work under no circumstances, and so they'll just start? Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about.
I think there's a high probability a lot of those people would rather lose their toys than to go back to work right now.
Yeah, no, I absolutely hear you.
I think I mentioned another episode, and I'm ad-libbing here because I don't have the story in front of me, but someone listened to our episode a month or so ago, and they sent me a DM giving me the story about they knew somebody that was like a couple, and they bought like all the boat, an RV, and all that shit, but they weren't paying their mortgage, but they went and bought all this other shit. So now they're like trying to sell some of this shit so they can refinance their mortgage and get like a home equity line so they can continue paying for the RV. There's like it's like a clusterfuck, right?
Yeah.
Because they took that extra income, and instead of like just paying for adulting, paying for the shit you're supposed to do, they went and bought all this stuff thinking that the party was never gonna end. And everyone's been waiting for 2008 again, but 2008 probably won't happen exactly that way. We won't have that exact kind of housing bubble again with the same conditions. But do we have similar mentality going on, such as, I'm going to get this adjustable rate loan that I'm going to refinance in 2 years or 3 years?
Yeah.
Where the housing price goes up, so I'm going to be able to refinance, and making those kind of stupid financial decisions.
Yeah.
That's the stories that I've been hearing about people and all the shit they bought, because RVs were sold out, boats were sold out. I got a buddy that sells yachts, and he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do for work yet next year. There's no boats to sell. It's like, as a salesperson, how do you make money if there's nothing to sell? But then they're also starting to think of, well, there's an economic downturn and no inventory, then you're double fucked, right?
Right.
So I don't know, man. We overconsumed, we overspent. I think a lot of people thought the party was never going to end. Maybe they thought COVID was going to go on for longer, and like the mortgage and rent moratoriums are going to go on for a couple more years. By then, they will hit the Powerball and be able to pay it all off.
Yeah.
But I'm just seeing more and more signs that things are not in good shape. And I don't think that people have just chosen not to go back to work because they're not going to do shitty work or it's poor paying. And I'm seeing people that are offering like $20 an hour for those jobs that were $12 an hour, and people still won't go back to work.
Yeah.
And you realize that it's almost no amount of money is going to make them go do that job until they have to go back to work. And I keep looking at this. We hit last year. We were talking about like peak savings, and it's been down, and then there was some stimulus hit and the fat unemployment and the child care credits. You got another chart, don't you?
Yep.
Like
We've
this is
got
actual.
this one
That's
here.
a savings. Like this is the actual people's savings, right? So there's
Right.
savings is just going down.
Oh,
down.
sorry. We go this one here. This
So
is
this is
savings.
this is actual savings in the bank, and it's
Correct.
like, and that other chart you showed, like in July, there's a little uptick, and that's when I think they fought the eviction moratorium.
Yeah,
people,
that's right.
like June, like people like, oh shit, I got to start paying my rent, and then it's like, nope, we're gonna fight it to the Supreme Court or something, and then people stop paying their rent again. They start saving, and then like August and September is like, oh shit, we're actually got to pay rent. And people greatly overestimate or underestimate the effect that not having to pay rent and school loans had on the economy. It wasn't just because people that even had jobs, they weren't paying their rent.
Yeah.
So you had a job and you weren't paying your rent, or you're getting a fat unemployment and not paying your rent. And if you're getting like 3 or 4K a month from unemployment and you're not paying rent, then where's 3 or 4 grand a month going?
Yeah, and I think that chart actually shows that very clearly, because like there's probably a baseline of savings rate, right, which I think is around 7.5 anyway, if you look at pre-COVID. So if you think of all the things that people aren't paying for, and the savings rate is around, like even today, still around there. Like there's a delta there of money that's getting spent on random things. So what I was going to ask James is, I don't know these charts well enough to kind of extrapolate forward, but do we see a point where like you get to like negative because people are starting to deplete their savings to continue?
I guess it depends on like how much shit they have. How many jet ski payments do you have? Do you have a second home or third home, or that stuff's going to end up, costing more than their income?
Yeah.
Do a 10-year on this. I'm curious, or can you do a 25-year? Can we see what it was around 2008?
Yeah, you can see that baseline, which is, I assume, just an average of where everybody typically is saving.
Yeah, and then we pretty much we're going right back down there. What's crazy is you look at the craziness of 2008 compares nothing to what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
If you look at look at the turbulence there versus COVID, like holy shit. But we're back to normal. We are now getting back to normal, which means you think people will go back to work. School loans don't kick back into what, January?
Mm-hmm.
My thought is people got to pay the rent now. Unemployment, the fat unemployment's ended. The child care credit is gonna, put some more money in people's pockets, but the money people saved is gonna get spent on this new velocity of spending they're used to. So savings is gonna deplete, which we're watching happen. Christmas is gonna come along, and knowing Americans, we're gonna overspend on Christmas. January is gonna come around, and then school loans are gonna kick back in, and at that point, you're gonna have to pay rent and your mortgage and your school loans. And there's no more extra money coming. And you got all these extra bills because all the shit you bought, like RVs and boats and second homes and timeshares, and but that extra income's not going to be there. So I'm curious to see what happens in January.
Yeah, I think January is going to be the big tell. You're right, because like all this area here, if you imagine, like, I guess that would, of course, this is like the extra money in the savings account. And you're right, if people aren't working, that'll only take a couple months to deplete. And you're right, January will be the point.
So it's like, I'm a car culture person, so I watch all these channels, and I know like everyone's not selling their cars, but you just hear more and more talk of it, right? It's, I just thought I go back to, I keep having JJ the boss, and you'll never know who that is, King. But I keep seeing like, him on his YouTube channel in like 1997 120p quality. I don't know, he must have been filming this shit on a flip phone from Motorola, I don't know, but even back then, it's just like I'm looking for signs, right? I'm looking for patterns. I'm looking for 4 or 5, 6 things that happen. You watch housing go. Remember the housing market going crazy?
Yeah.
Lines around the block to like see houses and put bids on them. There was this hysteria. It was mania going on, and that happens, and usually a bust happens afterwards. And we saw it with cars, we saw it with homes, we saw it with luxury goods. Now we got inflation, we got supply chain issues, we got staffing shortages. I don't know if you saw the American Airlines shit going on. It's who would ever say that this is the foundation for future economic growth?
Oh yeah, supply and demand is undefeated, and we don't have the scale to ramp up one way or the other like that fast. There's no way.
With massive inflation, huge energy price increases, a worker shortage, a lingering pandemic, overinflated asset classes just about everywhere, to the point where meme stocks make gold look like a shitty investment. So
that's right. Yeah.
Find me the professor that says this is the foundation for solid economic growth in the next 60 months.
Yeah, right. Let's build on this.
No, you're going to flip that around and say, put your helmet on. It's going to be a bumpy ride. So I don't know. No one knows what normal looks like. I know driving back from the studio this morning, it was not a lot of traffic out, which is usually not a good sign for a non-holiday. And I've noticed like traffic's been dwindling around the retail stores. Now, Kane, who's out shopping at 10:15 in the morning on a Tuesday?
I don't know.
But the parking lots are packed. Are you telling me these are all the people that are working from home with flex schedules? Or are these the people that exited the workforce and they're spending all their extra money? Like traffic's never been this bad at 10 o'clock in the morning, not even like 2 days before fucking Christmas, man. So it's like, well, obviously you're not working. It's like, what are you teleconferencing from your iPhone while you drive? And I'm seeing a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less. It's like, are we starting to see the spending taper off? We'll see it in public companies' reports here at some point. But if savings is dropping, then you got to imagine spending is going to drop too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think 3 of the big ones missed a lot last week, at least. I think Google and them. Like, I think Amazon too was. If they didn't have AWS, they'd be hurting.
Yeah, I mean AWS is crushing it. And I think a lot of people don't even think about that. All people think about is, I binge order like Cheez-Its and Mentos from Amazon Prime. They don't think about all this other shit that Amazon's into, and AWS is one of that. And it's a massive profit thing for them too, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So it's like, again, Kane, when you talk about the regression to the mean, maybe we should come up with a new thing called regression to the meme.
Genius.
And then that'll become its own meme. Like, I keep saying over and over since we started doing this show, we're only here because we pumped over $6 trillion into the economy.
Right.
Where are we at without the $6 trillion? And that is where you kind of got to bank on what the future's going to be. If we're only here because of $6 trillion fucking dollars, it's going to look like Mad Max when we stop. And no, I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I can't. Again, is this what we're going to say? This is the foundation for 3 to 4% GDP growth in the next 60 months.
I hope not, because so. the other day, James, I spent like I think $2.29 or $2.39 on one of those little bottles of Coke. It blew my mind. I hope not.
Like the
I don't know. No. The whatever it is, 12 ounce or whatever.
Oh,
12, 16.
I think I spent $3.50 on a Mexican Coke. And,
wild.
Yeah, and so that Coke, and if you get like a large McDonald's fry, that's $7.
That's insane.
And there's not even any protein in that shit. I just ate some fried potato and sugar water, and it was $7 fucking, man. So yeah, you can see where my diet's going. It's Monday. It's going well. But it's one of those things we joke about. I knew a family. It was a family. It's 5 people, and they spent like $55 at McDonald's or some shit. It's like, or Panera Bread. You talk about. By the time I get like, should I get a croissant, my sandwich, and a beverage? I think I'm at like $22 at Panera Bread right now. And I'm like, shit, you got Afterpay? Can I make like 3 payments on this shit? Like, can you break it down into like $7.50 now, $7.50 tomorrow, and I hit you with $7.50 on payday? It's like, then you're gonna have to finance a meal the way shit's going. So
yeah.
Again, we're only here because of $6 trillion, and that's going away. The infrastructure bill, while it's a lot of money, it's not all at once. It's stretched out over how many years? That'll pump some money back in the system, and I just don't know where. If you had to pick right now, do things go sideways? Do things go down or things go up based on the data you have? What do you think?
Yeah. I also think that the government isn't going to go after kind of regular people's money, but I think we're going to see more and more of the next few months, like ways, or the government's going to start talking about how it pulls the money out. This is that the tax on unrealized gains is like the first, but there's going to be others because they got to get that money out of the system somehow.
Yeah, the problem is like you're taking money away. So if it's an unrealized gain, then that's not money that's getting spent anywhere when you think about it. If they want to get money out of the system, they got to get the money out of the system from the people that are spending it.
Exactly. Yep.
And they're gonna go after middle class. They're gonna go after working class. They're gonna go after the people where I grew up. Right? We didn't save no money.
That's a good point. Yeah.
If $1,000 shows up in the mail, that shit's gone by Sunday. If you want to control inflation because of too much money supply, you got to get it out of the hands of the people that are spending it. Well, you can't spend unrealized gains because you haven't even cashed them out yet. So they might be taking that money out of the system, but that's not going to fix the inflation and the overconsumption issue.
Great point. Yeah, that's true.
But they're going to tax the billionaires, and I think we're going to realize that we talked about this before. You can take all the money the billionaires in this country has, and it still won't fix the spending issue.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference.
So they're coming after everybody. What, Kane, did you see that where they wanted to go after banking accounts with $600?
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Right. They wanted to track everything.
Does that sound like they want to get the money out of billionaires?
Nope. $600.
Yeah, they're going after people that get tips. If you work in the hospitality industry, anyone that's getting like cash like that, they're coming after all your shit. And it's like, because Kane, they know, like I just said, you could take all the money from the billionaires. I think if you took all the money from the billionaires and left them with zero right now, you couldn't even cover what we spent on COVID in the last 18 months.
True.
And this is kind of where it's like, I get politically taxing the rich sounds good until you realize that they don't even have enough money to fix the government's problems. So what do you do next? You go after the middle class and everybody else. Yeah. So, you go deposit that money from your, your server job at the restaurant, and they're going to want some extra tax money off of cash tips.
Yeah, I swear I deposited 600. Why is there only 400 here?
But they'll keep the campaign proud. They're not going to raise taxes on you.
Yeah.
They're just going to come get the taxes that you, quote unquote, in their eyes, should have paid. So, it'd be smart if we just stopped spending money on shit we don't need. And if we actually spent the money on, when we spend money, it actually goes to the things. Okay, why are the schools still underfunded? Do you ever see how much money we spend on schools?
I've never seen it, but I can.
It's fucking mind-blowing how much money we spend on schools. Still underfunded. I keep seeing a bunch of big, new, beautiful fucking buildings that are like modern art, but we're running out of paper and pencils. It's like Elon Musk calling out the UN.
Yeah.
With the $6 billion, because he knows that if he gives 6 billion, like $1 billion of it's probably going to go to food, and the other 5 billion is going to disappear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
In Monaco.
we had to have a conference about how to spend the money, right? And you know, that's where we're at. But save your money. Like I'm thinking, like, you know, DDE's got you probably don't follow. They got a twin turbo Ferrari or some shit. It's like, if the market really crashes, I might be able to pick that twin turbo Ferrari up for like a really good fucking price. You know, it's
Yeah.
I'm not talking to YouTube guys, but I'm thinking in general. I'm expecting a fire sale at some point to where I'm going to be able to go pick up some shit. Like,
Yeah.
all these dudes driving around right now, and the McLarens and Lamborghinis around here. It's like, I've just never seen so many in my life, and I'm going to keep hitting refresh to see what's for sale out there, because you'll know. One day there's going to be nothing for sale, and the next day it's going to be like 720S, 720S. You know, like, you know, SV. Like, you're just going to see the car thing load up boats, RVs. I don't know. I'm going to need some more property to store all this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it flip this Lamborghini.
You could use all those cardboard boxes that you have, and you could build a structure.
I'll tell you what, man. I gotta hit up. I gotta find out where to recycle this shit. I got so many Amazon boxes. Every day they're here. Like I said, man, it's you know, you jump on Prime. It's a game of Cheetos and Mentos, and it's like Prime will deliver that shit between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's all I got. Other than without some more government intervention, I think you're right, though, in the negative sense. I don't know. Can we even go negative on this chart? What happens?
I don't know.
Yeah, what happens when you start? Like, you see it right around 2006, how low it went, because we were just spending so much. We were overextending ourselves. I'm curious if we start getting down. What's that? Maybe 2.5 points there. I'm guessing. Could we get to the point where that low, where our debt service, just, you know, taxes, our lifestyle, to the point to where we're paying all our bills and we got $1 left over, or our debt service is actually more than our income, so you start blowing through all your savings and that drops.
Yeah, we should put a pin in that, because I think it wouldn't surprise me if that's what happens. Because you can just see it in the way, like you said, people have spent like crazy.
Again, if your rent was $1,000 and your school loans were $500, that's $1,500. But you took on like an extra $1,000 in loans and like a new car and an RV, and then all of a sudden you got to start paying school loans. Well, now you don't. Now your debt service exceeds your income.
Yep.
I get that's that story I told you about that we did on the other show, where I got that long DM about this couple went overspent on stuff, so they're trying to sell one thing, they get a home equity line to refinance this so they can. It's like, oh, how do you get yourself in that mess? And it's because you thought the party was never going to end. And at least in Michigan, they stopped serving alcohol too. Shit's over, go home. So, yeah. I don't know, man. That's all I got.
Okay, cool.
I'll catch you on the next one.